But one of the biggest things is what I call the 118. It's probably the hottest concept in the book today. It's being picked up. In fact, Monday I'm going to be hosting CNBC on Monday morning, and I'll be talking about the mirror test, and I'll be talking specifically about the 118. Here's what it is. It's a new digital version of the elevator pitch. What is it? 8 seconds is the average attention span of an adult. I know it to be true. I looked it up on the internet. Okay? 110 seconds is the average elevator ride in New York City. From the time you press the button, wait for the doors to open, step on, ride up or ride down, and get off. That's what you have. You have 118 seconds to be able to tell me that message. You got 8 seconds to hook me, 110 seconds to close me. If Moses can do it in 2 tablets of 5 bullet points each, folks, you can do it in a lot less, okay? So that's what you want to focus on. And the other thing I learned in the mirror test is to start looking around. Look at your partners. Look at the people that work for you. Is this the kind of people you want to be associated with? That's why BBH is such a great partner. People that want to grow with your business, people that want to expand with your business, people that want to help you take care of your document needs or whatever it might be in your business, look at your partners. You need to be able to take the mirror test and ask yourself very hard questions by looking in that mirror and being able to know whether or not they can do it. And a lot of that revolves around what I call conditions of satisfaction. Let's see if this has ever happened in your life. You ever gone to McDonald's, gone up to the speaker and you've yelled your order in as you drive up, go to the first window, you pay your money, you go to the second window expecting your food, but yet they open the door, the window, they lean out into your car and say, sir, if you don't mind pulling forward, we'll bring your food right out to you if you just go over to this little parking space. Happens? Do what I do. I say, no, thank you, I roll my window back up. All right? And I sit there. I block the traffic, I block everything, and pretty soon the 14-year-old assistant manager comes over and knocks on the window, you know? And she goes, sir, is there a problem? You're going to hold people up. I go, I don't mind, and I roll my window back up. Well, pretty soon the 16-year-old manager comes over and knocks on the window and said, sir, is there an issue? He said, we've asked you to pull forward this little parking space. I said, I got it. You want me to go to parking purgatory over here, but you haven't renegotiated the conditions of satisfaction. So you're asking me to be inconvenienced and pull forward, but you're not offering me anything in return. How about one of those McMinty shakes or one of those apple pies I like? I don't see you giving me anything, so I don't mind holding you up, and I roll my window back up. Well, now when I go through my McDonald's in my local town, and now they hear this story, I pay the money right away. I go to the first window, give them my order. I pay my money at the first window. By the time I get to the second window, my food is thrown through the window into my car. It's about setting conditions of satisfaction. So working with BB&H or working with your other partners or working with your employees or working with your customers, what are your conditions of satisfaction? Now, the other test that you have in the mirror test is about your role in that company. No matter what your role is, but as a leader, what is it? Now, when I was working at Kodak, people will tell you my job was to cause tension. Wherever I went, I was the chief tension officer. Now, there's an old saying in sports, no pain, no... Exactly right. Our job inside of our printing operations and companies like Bowie, Bell & Howell is to help you lead and help you cause tension, to be able to put new services, new things that are out in front of you. So what are you doing to cause tension? To move everybody from the center of the table to the edge of the table, not drive everyone back. That's the job of a great leader, and that's what you should be doing. Now, the other thing I tell people, too, is be who you are, but we may miss you. What I mean by that is that there's a good friend of mine named John Stewart. I know he goes around and speaks to a lot of different PIA groups and NAQP groups, and he says, sometimes you have people working in your operation that maybe you should fire. Just don't need to be there. And he says, by the way, when the first time you come back from one of these conventions, the first person you see when you walk back into the office, just fire them. He says it'll start sending them a message. I don't advocate that, because what starts to happen is the old guys catch on. And so what they do is say, hey, Jeff's coming back from the print show. Why don't you wait here at the front counter while we go to lunch, right? But when I first stepped into most of the operations that I go to cause change, to create change, is I met with, here recently, 4 years ago, when I was started at Kodak, I brought 800 and some people together, all the people in the marketing team. And I talked to them about a story from a book called The Goal. In fact, in my book, I've got a list of the books I think you need to have in your library. That's one of them. So if your house burned down, you had to replace your library, that would be one of the books called The Goal. And in the book, The Goal, he talks about taking his Cub Scout troop for his young son out on a hike. And as he took him out on a hike, he noticed that the troop started getting spread out. And the fast kids got way ahead of the slow kids. He felt he had to stay with the slow kids. As he stayed with those slow kids, the fast kids got farther and further ahead. He lost contact with them. By the time they got to the rest area, the fast kids had already rested and moved on, and he was there with the slow kids. He was perplexed. How could he keep them all together? And he decided that he couldn't. Because, see, he decided, and he found out through that process, that you can only move as fast as your slowest common denominator. So as you're starting to grow your business, look around for partners like BBH and others. How fast can they help you grow your business? Look for companies that are your fastest or greatest common denominator, not your slowest. And if you have people in your operation, and I said to the team of 800 and some people in front of me, I said, look, some of you are the slowest common denominators. My job is to move this company fast, and I'm going to find you. We love you, but we're going to miss you. And that's what leaders have to be able to do, and you need to work with vendors that will help you, whether they help you in terms of clarifying your document solutions or services, or whether they help you in every single day in business, you'll be able to find those people and make sure that that happens. And last but not least, I learned as part of the process, no one's going to die. So that is, make mistakes. Make mistakes and go ahead and have fun with it. I can tell you guys, I put together a mobile marketing campaign one time where I hired, right after I was on The Celebrity Apprentice, I got to know Vinny Pastore. You know the guy that plays Big Pussy on Sopranos? I love that guy. I think he's one of the most hilarious guys I've ever met. Got a chance to meet him, and I said, I want to have you in one of our commercials. So I hired him to do an inkjet commercial for us, where we made fun of what we call Big Ink. And it's a company that's around here somewhere, and I'm not going to get into who they are or anything like that, and I'm not allowed to talk about them for various reasons because of attorneys. I'll just give you their initials, HP. But anyway, but it was a lot of fun to be able to do this commercial. What we did was we had them to talk about the price of Big Ink and the inkjet cartridge. You know what? You remember what I'm talking about on the consumer side? It's absolutely crazy. It's unbelievable, And these guys made a lot of money on it, so we said, well, let's do a commercial on it. So what we did was we had this, we hired him to go out on the weekend, and we had him go out and come out in a big black Lincoln Continental on the docks of the East River. And you see this wide shot of him pulling up. He gets out, he opens up the trunk, and there's a scene coming out of the trunk. And you see Vinny Pastore standing there with a baseball bat. And as he's standing there with that baseball bat, he looks into the trunk, what you think is a person that's laying there, and he says, you've been lying to us, you've been cheating us, you've been robbing us blind, and you got to go. And then it's a tight shot of a small inkjet printer. He takes it out and he beats it up with a baseball bat. Sign says, don't get whacked by high inkjet prices. Text such and such, and we'll be able to do it. And then the next scene's got his arm around at that time, a Kodak printer, and it says, welcome to the family. And we tested it, and people loved it, and they double-digit response, and they were all texting like crazy to get the coupon because they saw the value in it. So I spent millions. I went out and told the team, go out and book every motion picture theater you can think of, because that's where we want to put this text campaign. Let's get it out there. Let's make sure that people know what's going on. And so we did it. We blanketed on a big weekend, on a summer blockbuster weekend. Monday morning, I come walking back into my office. As I walk into my office on Monday morning, I'm waiting to see the numbers. Can't wait to see the response of what this whole campaign did. And my team slides a piece of paper across the desk with the number 2 written on it. I said, what, is that 2,000, 20,000, 2 million? And they go, no, Jeffrey, it's 2. I go, you mean to tell me that out of all that money, that great campaign, we did this all across the country, and we got 2 texts out of this thing? Get everybody in the room. And I bring them all in the room and said, what's going on? What happened? Why didn't this work? And somebody finally raised their hand and said, Jeff, what happens when you go into a motion picture theater and you've got your telephone? And he goes, you turn it off. And I looked at him and I said, where the hell were you when we wanted to kick this campaign off, right? But I learned that no one dies, and that's what we learned as part of the experience there. And so the key thing is for you is to continue to try new things, continue to reach out with your vendors like BB&H, to be able to form partnerships and try things, because no one's going to die. We're going to get through this, we're going to keep working, and we're going to make it happen.